What's going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. Today, we're going to be talking about some trade destinations for Philadelphia Eagles tight end Zach Ertz. That's right, we believe that Zach Ertz will be on the move in the coming days, and we want to get out our top 5 destinations we believe Zach Ertz will end up. All that and much more coming your way right now! Nick, the Philadelphia Eagles have made no qualms about it. Zach Ertz is pretty much out in Philadelphia, and they're moving on with their guy, Dallas Goedert, who they moved up in the draft to take ahead of the rival Dallas Cowboys. Now we got to take a look at some of these teams that Zach Ertz might be heading to.
Yeah, this is no surprise to anybody, really, because Zach Ertz made it known during the season he wasn't happy with the franchise and he wanted to be moved. There were some teams looking for him. Even the Dallas Cowboys were inquiring about Zach Ertz, but obviously we know that's not going to get done. But Zach Ertz has made it known he doesn't want to be there. Now that Carson Wentz is gone, they're just got to unload the house. They got to rebuild from new, and they've just got to eat whatever they have from Zach Ertz and let him go. They've got to find out what the best trade package is, and as you mentioned, we have 5 specific teams that we want to talk about, and it all starts with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers look like they're about to lose Eric Ebron in free agency, and they're going to have to replace him with a guy potentially Zach Ertz. You put him with Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool and possibly Juju Smith-Schuster, you're looking at one of the best receiving groups in the NFL, and that's exactly what Big Ben needs coming off of a season where he completely fell apart towards the end. I think that a guy like Zach Ertz could be that safety blanket he was looking for in Ebron and just couldn't get going.
Yeah, I like the Steelers here. I think Zach Ertz would get to stay in Zach Ertz would get to stay in Pennsylvania, and he doesn't have to move too far. He stays in the area that he knows and loves. And honestly, I like the fit with Zach Ertz. I can see him in black and yellow. My biggest concern here is the cap space, and going over the numbers as we normally do. We took a look at Zach Ertz's contract, and it looks like his cap hit right now is 12.4. He has a dead cap of 7.7, which leaves about 4.7 left over for whatever team ends up trading for him. At that point, I'm taking a look at the Steelers and saying they still have a decent size of they have a decent way to go to make some cap space. So it's going to be tough for them to get Zach Ertz under the contract. But I believe Zach Ertz, if he gets traded to a team that he wants, because he does have a no trade clause, I believe that he'll end up going to restructure his deal and make it work for whatever team he decides that he wants to go to.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, he has that no trade clause, and he's going to be looking at a few different teams in particular that are probably on the way to going to the Super Bowl. And the second team on our list, the Arizona Cardinals, just acquired a piece that puts them ever so closer to making a Super Bowl. And with the acquisition of J.J. Watt, it only makes sense that you acquire another veteran that you can rely upon, that you can put with your young quarterback. Zach Ertz would fit perfectly with DeAndre Hopkins on the field. Kyler Murray would be able to grow and expand as a quarterback in the NFL. He has all the tools. It just doesn't seem as if he's able to get the job done because of a lack of weapons, and specifically at the tight end position. He's been throwing to a guy named Dan Arnold for the last couple of years, and he is not Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is going to give them so much more, and they'll be able to go so much farther. I mentioned in our J.J. Watt video that I didn't think J.J. really put them too much further ahead than they were last season to a Super Bowl, but I really believe Zach Ertz would put them a lot closer to not only winning the division, but getting to the Super Bowl.
I like, so just to back up here, with JJ going to the Cardinals, we take a look at, okay, does he make that much of a difference? Yes, but not really. He's not going to bring them to a championship. He is not the missing piece. But what he does do is opens up the possibility for other veterans to come in and join this team. And that's what I see with Zach Ertz. You talked about it. I like Zach Ertz fit here because him and Kyler Murray would be an insane duo. I mean, I'm talking reminiscent thoughts of Travis Kelce with Patrick Mahomes, Rob Gronkowski with Tom Brady. I'm talking, some of these best tight end quarterback combinations that we have in the NFL. This is what I'm looking at with Zach Ertz and Kyler Murray possibly. And then again, you add DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk. There are so many opportunities for Zach Ertz to not have to be relied on as the number one receiving target. Plus, he helps Kyler in the red zone, which was their biggest point of weakness on offense last year. I think outside of getting him a tight end that he can rely on, like Zach Ertz, once you fix up this O line, it's gonna be all wraps. The Arizona Cardinals will definitely be in the conversation for Super Bowl contention, and at this point, Zach Ertz is a huge piece of getting that done.
100%. And that's why I would say the Arizona Cardinals are probably the favorite to land Zach Ertz. I would definitely keep them in mind when thinking about Zach Ertz next time. One team I wouldn't think too closely with Zach Ertz, and our third team on the list, the Seattle Seahawks. And I don't think that this is the best fit personally, just because we look at what Greg Olsen did last season, and he got hurt. And they go back to their other two tight ends, and they get hurt. And we go back a couple seasons, and everybody gets hurt at the tight end position. I just think with Zach Ertz injury history and him being on the Seahawks, he's not going to stay healthy, and they're going to be in the same position as they are every year with just their two wide receivers, no help on the offensive line. I just think there's no reason the Seattle Seahawks should be going after a guy like Zach Ertz when they have such a big issue with that offensive line and how Russell Wilson has expressed himself lately.
I mean, I agree with you to an extent. But I do believe that the Seahawks make a little sense here. I mean, Russell Wilson was really cooking when he had Jimmy Graham out there. Jimmy Graham's stats weren't all that great, but Russ's stats were really that great because you had to take into account his security blanket on all costs. That means DK is going to get a lot more one-on-ones. Tyler Lockett's going to get open. These guys are going to be able to shake defenders that they weren't able to before because that safety can't play so deep, that they have so much more room on the back end of the defense to operate. Zach Ertz opens up the middle of the field for operation that Russ will finally have. And if they do fail to build up this offensive line, the next best scenario is to have a tight end who can rely on, who can bail you out of insane situations all the time. And that's what Zach Ertz can do for this team. If they can't get this offensive line figured out in the next season, that Zach Ertz would at least help Russell get some security, so he doesn't get injured, so he's not constantly getting sacked. We're talking about a guy who gets sacked 49 times per season. Like, that's his average. 49. That's incredible.
It's incredible in the worst way, and that's exactly why I don't think Zach Ertz would be the first on the priority list for the Seattle Seahawks. I think they need to look elsewhere. But fourth on our list, the New England Patriots. And if anybody knows a thing about tight ends, it's the New England Patriots. They've had obviously the most recent success with Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez lighting up the NFL. And I think that Zach Ertz on this team would be exactly what the Patriots need to get a boost on this offense. Everybody talks about the wide receiver core and how they are not up to par. But I think that's also to play because 2 years ago, Bill Belichick said, hey, we're not going to play the year with any tight ends. And then last year, they drafted two tight ends, but they were all hurt. And there was nobody to play the position again. So this year, if they get a guy like Zach Ertz, yes, he has the injury history, and so does every tight end, so we don't really need to talk about that. But Zach Ertz would add such a dimension to this team that N'Keal Harry and Jacoby Myers and Gunnar Olszewski and Julian Edelman, they would be able to get the one-on-ones that you talked about with the Seahawks. They would be able to get those one-on-ones, and they would be able to get more separation and be able to work better and grow. I think a tight end is so versatile and so useful, especially in the Patriots scheme, that Zach Ertz would fit so well and fit perfectly.
I mean, I agree with you up until the point where you said N'Keal Harry will get more separation, because I highly doubt that. I mean,
all right,
this guy,
all right, chill,
whatever.
Chill.
But outside of that, I love the fit here. Obviously, as a Patriots fan, I'd love to see Zach Ertz not only as a productive tight end, but his ability to work with Dalton Keene and Devin Asiasi and mentor them and get them ready for the NFL and work with them in that tight end room. Those three tight ends on the roster would be absolutely incredible for the Patriots, and it would provide a a security blanket for whoever plays quarterback Dak Prescott. And I hope that the New England Patriots see it as well, because if you remember, the most success that the Patriots have had in the last 20 years came when they had a tight end that was viable. In '07, it was Ben Watson. As of recently, it was Rob Gronkowski. Before that, it was Daniel Graham, and they, there were a ton of tight ends that were on the roster that helped this team. Bill Belichick knows how to win, and that is with a good offensive line, good tight end schemes, and he's gone away from that the last 2 years, which is why they have struggled. I think if you add Zach Ertz to this team, you're going to have much more success.
100%. I completely agree. And that's on me being completely unbiased here. I'm not the biggest fan of Zach Ertz, but I know exactly how he would be used in the Patriots scheme, and I know that he would have a ton of success. And finally, our last team on our list, and I think, in my personal opinion, it's the best fit for him. He needs to go team up with Carson Wentz in Indianapolis. He needs to be back with Frank Reich in that offensive system. I think that this is the best fit for Zach Ertz. If we look at Zach Ertz's career, he had the most success in Frank Reich's system. He had the most success with Carson Wentz as his quarterback. I think that this is exactly what needs to happen. They have the fourth most cap space in the NFL, so you don't even need to worry about the $4 million cap hit that they're going to take. That's nothing to them. I think they're so few pieces away from getting to the Super Bowl, and tight end is one of them. You can shore up that right now by signing Zach Ertz and putting him in the scheme that you know works.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not only that, you've gotten your quarterback that you've wanted, right? Frank Reich got his man. He got Carson Wentz. Why not get him a weapon that he's not only comfortable with, but he knows how to utilize and operate? And because Zach Ertz understands Frank Reich's system, he's going to be able to work with everybody on that offense, because he has to work in blocking schemes, he has to work in running game, and he has to work with the wide receivers. So he literally is the central piece of this, where he can work with everybody to get them all on the same page. I'm looking at players like Michael Pittman, possibly T.Y. Hilton, some of these guys that the Colts have that need to finish getting up to speed with Carson Wentz, or start getting up to speed with Carson Wentz. Zach Ertz goes a long way in getting that done, and I believe if you get him his most relied on target, then I think you're going to have a recipe for success in Indianapolis. On top of the fact that you have one of the best offensive lines in the league, he's not going to be relied upon to be that security blanket 24/7. He's just going to be a guy that is utilized in an offensive package that is going to open everything up. So I take a look at the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm in agreement with you, Nick. I think that they are the best fit here for Zach Ertz. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.